So see, the IT Rules 2021, which basically stand for the Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code 2021, were released in the month of February by the Government of India, and already the process of formalizing these rules was set way back in 2017-2018 onwards through the judgment of the Supreme Court. So Prajawala case was there, wherein Supreme Court said to the government of India that you should come up with a proper set of guidelines for the OTT platforms and the social media intermediaries. Then in 2019, Supreme Court again reminded the central government of the decision of 2018, and then finally the government came up with these rules. As these rules have the name Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code. So from the name itself, it is very much clear that they apply to two distinct entities. First set of rules applies to the intermediary, that is the social media intermediaries. And the second part of the rule applies to the OTT platform, digital media, right? For us, it is more important to understand the rules with respect to the social media intermediaries, because with respect to the OTT, they are very easy to understand. However, we will study the both. So, intermediary guidelines. Here, government basically has divided the social media intermediaries into two parts on the basis of the subscribers that they have. All the social media intermediaries having subscribers less than 50 million will be called as social media intermediaries. Whereas all the social media intermediaries having subscribers more than 50 million will be called as significant social media intermediaries. Now, this distinction has been done so that certain set of provisions could apply differentially. That is, there are certain provisions which will apply to both of them. But there are another set of provisions which are restricted for SSMI only. Like, point number 1, there should be a chief compliance officer, a chief nodal officer, and a grievance redressal officer. These three new appointments, these three new posts would have to be mandatorily created by the significant social media intermediaries, and the person appointed as CCO, CNO, GRO needs to be resident in India. They should be in India, right? The function of Chief Compliance Officer would be to ensure that the company is complying with all the laws of the country and specifically with the IT Rules 2021. Chief Nodal Contact Officer. The function of this nodal contact person would be to act as a single point of contact with the law enforcement agencies. So anything required by the law enforcement agencies, they do not have to hit the ground abruptly. They just have to go and contact the nodal contact person. And then there would be a grievance redressal officer. Grievance redressal officer will have to resolve. This also forms to be the first tier of the grievance redressal mechanism that has been envisaged by the IT Rules 2021. Grievance redressal officer will have to resolve a complaint within 15 days. But in cases of certain complaints as in complaints related to the child sexual abuse material, complaints with respect to women and child mostly, will have to be resolved, or that is the content basically that has been flagged by any user should be removed within 24 hours. What kind of content? Which is outraging the modesty and dignity of women and child. Fine. Then SSMI will have to come up with monthly reports, monthly compliance reports. They will have to submit the monthly compliance reports. Apart from this, here is the first issue that the WhatsApp and Twitter have. First issue is here. 24 hours timeline. Apart from these provisions, identification of the first originator. Identification of the first originator. So rules say that companies will have to tell to the law enforcement agencies whenever they are asked to do about the first originator of a particular content, whenever a content tries to threaten the integrity of India, cause imbalance in the law and order situation of the country, and so on. So whenever there is a threat to our country with respect to a content post on the social media sites, then it is the responsibility of that media house, that is a company, to provide us the details of the first originator. So second issue is here of the WhatsApp and Twitter. Then it talks about the voluntary user verification system. That is, each and every account would be voluntary verified. Why it is essential? So as to eliminate the numerous fake accounts that are doing rounds on the social media sites these days. So when you will voluntarily verify your account, a kind of tick mark will come against your account, which will show that your account is genuine. Your details have been verified. It will also help later on for the government to track down you in case you indulge yourself in any kind of anti-national activity. Then there is the last provision of removal of unlawful content. Unlawful content. Removal of unlawful content. So here the government says through the rules that for any kind of content, if the law enforcement agencies ask you to remove it, you will have to remove it. Simple. Fine. Apart from this, the rule that applies to both, that is grievance redressal system. So grievance redressal system is three-tiered out here. First tier is self-regulation through the GRO, that is a grievance redressal officer. Second tier is through a self-regulatory body. So this self-regulatory body will comprise of several members, approximately 6 members. Chairman would be a retired judge or an eminent person, and they will look after the self-regulation of other social media intermediaries. And the third tier would be of the interdepartmental committee where the government officials can intervene. So this is the third tier where the issue arises, because for the first time, never ever government has intervened into the self-regulation of electronic media, print media, films, entertainment media, etc. So this is for the first time the government is directly intervening by placing itself at the top notch of the grievance redressal system through the interdepartmental committee. So here also slight criticism has been seen in the news. So these were the provisions with respect to the social media intermediaries, and this is to be looked after by the Ministry of Electronics and IT. Second set of rules with respect to the OTT platforms and digital media are very easy to understand. First of all, they will have to comply with the ethics code that would be released by the Ministry of I&B, that is the Information and Broadcast. Second, they will have to come up with the age specific classification of the content. That is, on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, you see various content, but those are not age specific classified. That is, you do not get to know whether that content is suitable for me to watch or not, given my age. So on the basis of the age, there will be 5 categories, and accordingly, each and every content should be categorized. So categorization of content on the basis of 5 categories. Third provision talks about the parental controls on content rated 13 plus. So for 13 plus aged viewers, parental controls would be given in the OTT platforms. Then last, Uh, yes, reasonable age verification system needs to be introduced for the A and adult contents. So if you are watching an adult web series or movie on an OTT platform, then you should verify your age in a reasonable manner. This needs to be introduced by the OTT platforms. Apart from this, last thing is that OTT platforms will have to self-regulate themselves on the lines of the PCI, that is the Press Council of India. So this is about the OTT platforms. Now, what is the issue all about? Why WhatsApp is basically in contradiction with the central government over the IT rules. So first point, 24 hours. That is, you will have to remove the content within 24 hours, specifically the content of women and concerning women and child. So WhatsApp says that this basically is against Article 19(1), that is freedom of speech and expression. Because if a citizen expresses something over our platforms, using our platform, and if you ask us to remove that content, then we basically are violating his or her fundamental right? So here government says that it is not us who will be asking you to remove the content. It will be a user who will be asking you to remove the content. Suppose I am going through Facebook and if I see a content which is inappropriate, then I can report that content to the concerned authority of the Facebook. And if that content is inappropriate, then remove it within 24 hours. So it is basically giving or empowering users of the social media. We, as the government, already are empowered. Under the section 69 of the IT Act 2000, we have the power to direct you to remove any unlawful content. So we do not need extra powers. This is to empower the user so that users can become more constructive when they are on the social media platforms, right? Second issue comes of the first originator. So here WhatsApp says that if you want us to give you the details and chats of the first originator, then for that we will have to end our end-to-end encryption system. End-to-end encryption system is a system which basically does not allow even the creators of the WhatsApp to look into the content of your message. Getting my point? And in order to give that message details to a law enforcement agencies, they will have to break this end-to-end encryption system. If they break the end-to-end encryption system and they read the messages of the users, then is it not violative of Article 21, right to privacy? So WhatsApp says that you are asking us to basically violate right to privacy, which is not that we are gonna adhere to. Now here government says that right to privacy is not an absolute right. Point number one. Point number two, we are not asking you very often about the details of the first originator. We would be using this provision as a matter of last resort only under exceptional circumstances. Point number three, the content that you are talking about is already in the public domain, which already has caused law and order disturbance, which already has threatened the security apparatus of the country. So the content which is already in public, how can it erode the privacy of the user? We are just asking you who circulated that content first. Just let us know about that. So you being the creator of that app or the website or the technical platform, it is your duty to find in the filters or the loopholes or something like that to come up with a solution. So these are the arguments of the government. Now WhatsApp here says one argument of WhatsApp is very good out here. WhatsApp says Okay, fine. Suppose we have broken our end-to-end encryption model. Now, if we give you the details of the originator, first originator, is he actually the perpetrator? The answer is might be not. Why or how? Suppose I am walking around and on a wall I see a poster which says Pakistan Zindabad. Suppose I take a pic and I send it to my friend or to a group of friends. Usually, all of us have such groups, and then from there onwards, it gets viral. And one day, I find law enforcement agencies at my door charging me of sedition. So, was I actually the culprit? The answer is no. The things which go viral are not in my hands. That totally depend upon the subjective mentality of human being. What I did, the poster was not created by me. I just took a pic and for fun I might have shared it with my friends and it got viral. So in such cases, are you not again in violation of Article 21 because you are not able to protect the life of the citizen of the country? Forget about privacy. Here, now the life also is threatened. So what you will be doing in such cases? Similarly, I can download a picture from the Google and then circulate it on the WhatsApp, but I'm not the creator of that picture or that content. So these are the issues that basically are going on. Now, whenever government says that right to privacy is not absolute, what does it mean? Very important for us to understand from prelims, interview, and mains perspective. Fundamental rights in our country are not absolute. Either they have reasonable restrictions or they often are interpreted by balancing those rights with the situations or with the actions that the government has taken. So when you talk about absoluteness of right to privacy, you should immediately think of the test of proportionality. Just now we talked about the test of permissible classification. Now we will be talking about the test of proportionality. Test of proportionality was reiterated and again defined by the Puttaswamy judgment, wherein right to privacy was accorded the status of fundamental right in our country. Puttaswamy said, in the Puttaswamy judgment, the Supreme Court said that if you want to take away the privacy, then you should pass this test. Now, this test has 4 steps. First, law. Write these 4 words. It will be helpful for quick revision. First step is law. Second is necessity. Third step is proportionality. And fourth step is safeguard provisions. So in order to take away privacy, first of all, the action which takes away the privacy should be a legitimate action, should be supported by law. Point number 1. Point number 2. Such an action should only be resorted to when you do not have any other less restrictive alternative. Now, in the case of WhatsApp, I forgot to mention one point. The argument of WhatsApp also said that we already share with the law enforcement agency details of the users like profile data, like the IP address, and other required digital trails, which are sufficient enough for the law enforcement agencies to nab or arrest any perpetrator. Same we do in the US. Even in USA, we do not share the exact messages of the users. We share the digital trail data, IP address, profile data, last seen data, and so on. So is this not an alternative? If WhatsApp is already sharing it, then what is the necessity of asking WhatsApp to end the end-to-end encryption? So this will come under necessity. Is there any alternative available which is less restrictive? Third, proportionality. Your objective. Here the objective is national security, integrity of the country, law and order maintenance. This is the objective. Is your objective in balance with the means that you have adopted? So what is your mean to achieve the objective? Your mean here is to erode the privacy. So is it in balance with each other? Supreme Court will assess likewise. And fourth, is there availability of any safeguard provision? That is, suppose you have arrested an individual and he comes out to be innocent in the court of law. Then what safeguard provision do you have? That is, how you are gonna safeguard people from the abuse of that action. Today you are saying you will use it under exceptional circumstances. Tomorrow if you use it often, like you use sedition today, then what are the safeguards available? So this is the test of proportionality, which not only is applicable to the right to privacy, but repeatedly Supreme Court has referred to it, be it the Sabrimala case, be it the Aadhaar judgment, right now in the privacy. So Navtesh Singh Johar case. So in various cases, right to the test of proportionality is being referred to. So both the arguments of WhatsApp and government basically are drawing from the test of proportionality. Test of proportionality clearly says that the right to privacy is not absolute. If you abide by all the tests, if you pass all the tests, all the steps, then you can erode the privacy. So obviously, right to privacy is not absolute. So government says that yes, we are doing that. We are not taking away the privacy for any unnecessary cause. We have a cause, we have a proper objective, we have a law in the form of IT rules, and we also are providing the safeguard provisions. Then you will have to give your privacy. WhatsApp says there is no necessity, we already have an alternative. You are not proportional because you are not only violating Article 21, but you are also violating Article 19. That is freedom of speech and expression, right? And so on. So this is the entire debate and each and everything that you need to know probably about new ID rules 2021. Any doubt out here? And also never ever end your answer like I did this time without mentioning data protection bill. Since there is no data protection bill in our country, we cannot come up with these kind of steps, because if you are taking data from WhatsApp, then what is the surety that the data that you have is protected? There is no law to protect data in a country. So it is of utmost importance that we pass in our country the data protection law, and only after that we come up with these kind of things.